Welcome to Herf Zone Live, the cigar show that's unlike any other cigar show where we interview people outside of the cigar industry who smoke cigars, and some don't. Some will agree to try, but either way, we will deliver awesome content. And if you're just tuning in, I'll give people a few seconds to tune in or whatever. But tonight, I'm having a little bit of throat issues, so I'm actually not going to be smoking a cigar, regrettably. But we have an awesome guest lined up. And so, yes, even though this is a cigar show, I'm having a little bit of throat issues, so I'm not going to smoke just to make sure that, that I don't have any further throat issues and all that good stuff. So I have an awesome guest tonight who is in the green room. He's kind of getting ready, so I'm kind of stalling for a second here, but it's all good. But before I introduce my guest, I want to give a little background on him. Our guest tonight is Dorian Gayle. He is a stand-up comedian, actor, model, and so many other things. I had the privilege to see Dorian Gayle's very first time on stage during the time when I was attempting to do stand-up comedy. He had a lot of passion. He was an 18-year-old fresh face full of potential, and I never imagined where he would end up. And Dorian is on his way to success and shows no signs of slowing down. Without further ado, I'm still gonna pause for a second. I can see him. He can hear everything that I'm saying. It looks like he's kind of ready now. So without further ado, I'm gonna go ahead and bring our guest on right now. He looks like he's all set up and ready to come on the show. We got a great show lined up. We're gonna have some interesting conversation and hopefully take your mind off of the election tonight. So yeah, without further, I'm gonna bring Dorian on and we'll get started here. What's going on, brother?
Yo, what's up? What's up? Hey, everybody. My name is Dorian Gayle.
Yes, sir. Well, I want to thank you so much for coming on the show. And how's everything been going for you in these COVID times and all that good stuff?
I tell you, it's been really interesting. And what's the word I'm going to use? Really a test. It's been a test throughout the last 11 months. We're in the 11th month. The last 10 to 11 months, it's a test. I'm doing a lot of writing. I've written a lot of jokes, like a lot. But I'm focused. A lot of time away from society. I'm able to do things I never did before. This is the first year that people have had the time to actually do their New Year's resolutions. This is like the first time you're in the house, nothing to do. You can drop whatever pounds you got to drop. You can go do your yoga class. You can start eating vegan because you have so much time in your hands. So it's been a really interesting time.
Yeah, definitely. And I know with me doing what I do, like just doing, I was like, you know what? I used to be a part of a website, Stogie Press, for Still Good Friends. But because of my actions and saying some crazy controversial stuff, I'm no longer a part of that. So I took kind of a few months off from, I'm still a cigar influencer, even though it's a little cool. I'm not even shirtless right now because I'm like, you know what? I'm not trying to be cold and my nipples getting hard and all that. But, it's a little cool outside. I'm out here in the Herf Zone. But, I just decided, you know what? I'll start a show. And I wanted to go from a different angle. And so here I go. And people are like, where'd you find these people? At Walmart or whatever? And I'm like, no, it's just people who I know who are just interesting people. And if I can help them out in a way by, providing a real interview, that's, it's just a sit down interview and give them a chance to talk and speak their truth. That's what I'm all about. So we're going to get started here. So, you live over in Palm Bay. Did you grow up in Brevard County your whole childhood?
Yes, I am a Brevard person. I was born in Cocoa Beach, and I grew up in Palm Bay. It was growing up was interesting for me. You know what I mean? I grew up in the woods. All right, a very woody area. My neighborhood, only black kid on the street. Okay, so like. Everybody just had Halloween. Halloween was different for me, okay? All the kids on my street, they dressed up as Captain America. I couldn't be that. I had to be Captain African America, all right? It had some interesting powers. But listen, I've seen that city grow into, just amazing things. You know, the city of Palm Bay, you know, has amazing things going for them. You know, and amazing people who are doing huge things come out of Brevard County. Several NFL football players, actors, and you know, leaders and business owners have come out of Brevard County. You know, it's a gold mine. You know, it's producing great people. You know, I still think it produces great people, regardless of what anybody says about it. That area produces greatness.
Yep, it's produced me, it's produced you. You know what I'm saying? So, and so, when did you know that you wanted to be an entertainer? What was that defining moment for you?
Man, I'll tell you now. When it comes to my sense of humor, I had to be at least bam. So I went to this private school. I went to this private school. After I went to this private school, I had daycare right down the street. I was in daycare. It was movie time. We had to come in playing outside. It was movie time, right? Movie time is usually when your parents get ready to pick up their kids. You got to give them a movie, something to calm them down a little bit. While the previews were coming on, this other kid said, "I love that show," and it was a preview. And all these other kids are laughing because of the irony of his joke, right? And that moment, I was able to realize, oh, he did something. I didn't know it was a joke. I didn't know the formula. I didn't know the technique, the punchline. But why are all these other kids laughing? So it was then when I had the aha moment. I had to be at least 8 years old. Now, in terms of getting up in front of people, I was 16 years old. I was in the 10th grade. My school was getting ready for these lovely standardized tests that we had to take. I won't even name them. We had to take these lovely standardized tests, and in order to prepare for that, we had a poetry slam, you know, to teach us alliteration, automatopoeia, all that lovely grammar. They needed volunteers to MC the event. A bunch of kids rolled their hands. I rolled my hand. My teacher called on me, and it's been like that ever since. I was 16 years old. Yeah.
Nice. And so tell me about your first time on stage. What was going through your mind at the time, and how did that inspire you to keep going?
Man, my first real time on stage, I was 17, and I hosted a school talent show with a good friend of mine. Shouts out to Anthony Shim, gotta say his name. A great friend of mine. It was our senior year, and at the time I kind of had a little buzz around me. You know, I was the funny kid of the school. You know, I never know what popularity was, but I knew I liked it. You know what I mean? I wasn't popular from 9th, 11th grade. That 12th grade year, I was on TV productions, doing the announcements, doing all this funny stuff, to the point where all these kids in the school knew who I was. And also, when I graduated, to the point where the next 5 graduating classes knew who I was as well. My first time on stage was my first experience really being in comedy, and I'm like, I want to do this. I did a Jay-Z impression. I had a couple characters up there that the kids knew in my school. I had some jokes that I did, you know, some funny, silly stuff that they know from the announcements, you know. Yeah. And I had a great co-host. I was able to build chemistry, so it was an eye-opener. I was able to see, okay, this is how we get started. How do I work to become super good at this? That was my first eye-opener in terms of stand-up, in terms of emceeing, in terms of public speaking.
And so what is your process like when it comes to writing jokes?
Man, I'll tell you, my process, multiple ways, right? So, you know, there's a natural side of me that is energetic, hyper, funny, silly, goofy. You know what I mean? I could be telling jokes, not really telling jokes, but being myself in my natural sense of humor. And I'll remember something that I said that I was that has potential, right? There's always the natural, and then there's the structure. You know what I mean? Yeah. You know, so for me, about matching that natural with the structure. I said something funny. What can I write? What can I put a punchline? What can I build a premise What can I use callback? What can I make that into funny? You know, it's always, for me, matching the natural with the structure. I physically write a lot, but now I write a lot. A lot of singers write out loud, and I think as a comedian, I should write out loud too, you know, practicing an hour a day, and then writing down, you know, so I don't forget my thoughts. So it's really, for me, matching my natural side with the structure of stand-up comedy. Because there's a lot of comedians who may not be naturally funny, but they work so hard, and they're going to get you laughing.
Yeah, see, that was my problem. See, I am pretty funny, like, if I'm just around a couple people and I get in that right vibe. But, you know, back when you first started, you know, when I first met you, you know, it's like I tried too hard because, like, I'm not that good with being structured. Like, I just have to be in that right vibe with the right people, and I'll be a damn clown. But, you know, some people, you know, I mean, just like you explained, you know, you got the natural and the structure. You just kind of have to balance it out. So describe your brand of comedy, though. How do you separate yourself from other comics?
Okay, so for me, when I first started out of stand-up comedy, didn't know who I was. So, you know, but so I didn't know who I was, and I would cut a lot. I took cussing out of my comedy because I took cussing out of my life, and then because I'm very personal, I tell the deepest things about my life. When you come to see me live, you're going to know who I am. I go so deep. I say things that people usually don't say about themselves. I go deep with it. And I learned from Kevin Hart and Dave Chappelle. And those guys, Kevin Hart, I learned from him to get personal. You know, he's done personal stuff about his marriage and him messing up and his family and his dad, mom, uncle. Dave Chappelle gets on another level where he's going in about the world and society, and he says things that necessarily aren't laugh out loud funny, but true enough to get your attention and pay to see him. Oh, and that's who I am. I go deep. My only rule is I don't say names and I don't say places. Out of respect, I don't say names and I don't say places. I don't get that detailed, but other than that, because, you know, and I guess you can catch losses or whatever, but other than that, I dig deep. I dig deep about my life. I talk about what I've gone through. I'm writing a whole hour right now. You know, I'm writing a whole hour right now. And it's going to be one of the deepest, you know, hours I've ever written. You know, one of the deepest I've ever, you know, I go deep because I don't want to take stuff to my grave, man. I don't have time for that. You know what I mean? I don't want to live with stress. A lot of people are living with stress because they can't express. All right, stress, they rhyme for a reason. So I go deep.
Yeah. So you said you're the process of writing an hour. Is this your first time writing an hour of material, or do you have, you know, or have you, you know, got to that point yet?
This is my first time writing an hour. Doing an hour, no, but this is my first time really, you know, creating my own HBO special, creating my own Netflix special, you know, really writing one because, you know, I'm 24, you know, I'm gonna be one of the biggest headliners, so, you know, gotta watch out. Dorian Gayle coming. And nothing's off limits with me. From sports, politics, you know, nothing is off limits with me. And I don't cut. So, hey, if you want to bring a kid, you know, he's going to be like a parent talking. It's going to be like your dad, you know what I mean? But your dad is a Christian now. He go to church. But he still keep it real. That's, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, I wasn't sure if you already had done an hour before, because I know it's been a hot little minute where since I've actually seen you perform. So that's part the reason why I had you on the show, to catch up but create good content, and that way when you are a big headliner, what I'm saying, like people could go back and watch this interview and see you in the early days, and it's a documentation of history. And so the next thing I have here is how do you deal with hecklers?
Hecklers, man. Hecklers. The thing is, hecklers. Sometimes with hecklers, you can get the rest of the audience to kind of single them out. There's a technique, and I know a lot of comedians use it, because the heckler can take the audience and turn them against you. If you don't create that energy to single that heckler out, that's how comedians attack. We're singling that headliner out because they're trying to single us out, and all these people take this money or pay their time to come see this comedian, and the heckler decide they want to, what I mean, call somebody out on stage. You got to get that attention off of you and create something, a joke or a situation or something, to the point where they feel like, I'm gonna shut up and let you tell your jokes. You gotta take that attention off of you and kind of create some type of energy to where they'll be like, go ahead, do your joke. You know what I mean? Or to get them bounced up out of there. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, definitely. And so you're most known, though, for your impressions and incorporating them into your stand-up. How much work does it take to perfect just one impression? And once you master one impression, how long is it before you start working on another impression?
Well, impressions for me, I won't say they come as natural. It's more of a hearing coordination. When you hear something, it's like immediately you can identify with it. It's like, oh, that I hear that. I'm connecting with that. Once you hear it, you can connect with it. Once you can connect with it, you automatically start to imitate. A lot of impressionists are imitators, and a lot of them work. You know what I mean? With me, it's like when I hear something, in my mind, the first thing I say is, oh, I can do that. I can do that. In reality, I have to work it out. But in my mind, once I can identify with the sound, I can do it. Like when I started doing impressions of Chris Rock or Kevin Hart, I was first able to watch them. I was able to see their errors, see what they say, see what they do, and then hear how their voice sounds, and continue. And each and every day, I work on a piece of that impression, of their physicality, of their expression, of how they deliver jokes. Each and every day, I work on something different. Do they turn their head? Do they, Do they put their fingers up like Chris Rock? Each and every day, I work on something different about that impression.
Definitely. And not only do you do impressions of comedians and actors and all that, but you have some singer and rapper impressions like Bryson Tiller and Biggie, and I've seen you do Drake, and there's probably a few other ones. Are you trying to work on any more rapper and singer impressions?
Man, there's a lot. I mean, especially the new rappers, man. Like Drake's one of my favorites. Eminem is a good one. Jay-Z and Eminem they all do. I want to attempt to do some of the female rappers. You know what I mean? Because we're so used to doing impressionists. When I see an impressionist, I'm like, well, if black impressionist is doing another impression of a black dude, it's a little bit, like easier. When you can step outside of your comfort zone, that's when you really work with something. When you can do, if you're a man who can do women impressions, if you're white who can do black impressions, if you're, black who can do Hispanic impressions, I think that's really, that takes the skill.
Yeah.
So For me, man, I'm gonna try it. Like I'm gonna work on some Mega Stallion or something. Mega Stallion or um, I try to do Cardi B, but Mega Stallion, yeah, for sure. And maybe City Girl or something. I'll figure
Yeah.
something out.
Yeah,
I definitely
definitely.
want
I'm
to put
definitely
out my.
excited. Definitely excited to see once you get that perfected, you know? And once you started doing stand up comedy and then you also started your YouTube channel, it kind of led you to creating content like short skits. And I know you roasted people, all that. And, how did you ultimately get into acting and what are some projects that you were involved with as an actor?
So I first started looking at acting. I mean, I've loved acting since I was very young. Eighth grade, I was in drama class. When I was in 12th grade, I joined musical theater for the first time. Shouts out to Miss Rock. Uh, and I was the first person to start at a play in my school. Now, when I graduated, there was always local auditions at the theaters and stuff like that. I would always be involved in. I was able to do my research, look into what it takes to be an actor. I heard Don Cheadle say in an interview, if you want to be an actor, start acting. You know what I mean? Start acting. Start acting. You know, a lot of people are like, well, you got to be big and this. Everyone starts somewhere. So I would take small roles in the local theater plays and small projects and independent films and private films. You know what I mean? Because that's getting better at your craft. You know, you always start out small. Or, for the most part. If you're not already in the industry, you're starting out small. So I mean, I don't take any things hard when it comes to acting. It's all about a process. Everybody has a process, and mine is fun, man. I enjoy acting so much. I always act. You want to do something, you have to just start. You know what I mean? You can't wait. You gotta just start.
Most definitely. And so, what has been the response to your YouTube channel and your work as an actor? Just from the people.
Well, the people are they're liking it so far for what I post and the things that I aspire to create. Like recently started creating this demo reel with like a resume of the things that I've acted in or things that I've participated in. So I've got three good ones right now, three projects right now that I've participated in, and people are loving that. People are loving TikToks and whatnot. People are loving all of that. So far, I've gained 200 subscribers last 3 months. So.
Hmm. Nice. And so, who are some of your favorite comedians to work with that you worked with so far? Mostly on like a local level, but a few of them I know you work with a few big ones. So who are some of your favorites to work with?
Man, uh, I love shouts out to Brevard Comedy because I love that scene. You know, I love that Brevard Comedy scene. Shout out to Eugene Singleton. Shout out to Duncan Day and Christopher Robinson. All those guys. That whole scene, I love it. I love that scene. I love everybody in that scene. You know what I mean? And then on a big mainstream international level, um, when I when I when I was able to meet uh, Nitty Knack Paddywhack and Dancing Dan Rue from MTV's Wild Out, that was like um, Peter, Pekka, Piper, Pan. Dan is a man with a plan. Oh, hey, baby, that guy. When I was able to meet them, I was ecstatic. And not to mention, I had a great performance at that talent show that was down there in Port St. Lucie, that area, the Fort area. And then a year later, um, I was able to open up for DC Young Fly and Carlos Miller, and that was a fantastic show. I love that show.
Mm.
You know, and November 27th, I'm going to open up for comedian MTV Wild and Out comedian Shardy. So
Nice.
Come, man. Another comedian I met that I just love that dude, man. Preacher Lawson, man. That guy is the real deal.
Yeah.
Man,
I met Preacher. I didn't meet him when I was in Florida, right? My dad lives in Seattle area, and so we went to a comedy show out there, and Preacher Lawson was in Seattle area, and that's what I met him. He's a cool cat. Let's see here. Are you having any? Am I coming through clear? Because there's like the audio keeps breaking up here and there, and I wanted to make sure like it's not on my end.
I can hear you.
Okay, cool. Yeah, because for some reason sometimes like you're breaking up a little bit, but it's probably not my fault or your fault. But I'll keep this going here. So.
Right, it's a little bit choppy, but I'm able to make out what you're saying. So.
All right, and what is one of your craziest experience that you had while at a comedy show? Any crazy, mishaps or whatever?
Man, one time we were in the open mic, and I don't know if this guy was drunk, but he was either drunk or on drugs. And he was fighting this. He tried fighting another guy or something because it was at the bar, and the stage was right in there. I think this was, I don't know, but man, they tossed him out of that place. And they called the police on him and everything. It was. There's been some insane stuff in comedy shows.
Oh yeah,
That's
definitely.
why you gotta have protection. You gotta have.
Yep, for sure. And so, not only you're a comedian or actor, but you're very outspoken on current events and political issues on social media. Whenever you make a post, sometimes on Facebook, sometimes it's kind of hard to tell. So, are some of the posts that you're making posts to troll people and get reactions, or are you making a lot of them are a lot of them genuine posts in order to generate healthy conversation?
Sometimes I'm just being a comic, and sometimes I'm really asking questions. I'm asking questions so I can hear other people. And I'm not asking questions for myself. I'm asking questions so I can hear other people and see how do you feel about this topic, or what do you think about this? Which is why I'm able to talk to anyone. As long as you're not trying to kill me, I'm able to talk to you, man. You know what I mean? You can come to a whole different walk of life. I'm cool. So I'm always able to get uncomfortable with myself and able to help a society. If you're not uncomfortable, you can't grow. So you got to keep pushing. Oh, I never thought about it that way. Oh, you know what? That's a good way to think about that. Oh, you know what? I once stood on this, and that's a good way to think about it. I never looked at it before like this. Oh, that's really interesting. I'm not saying you're going to change your entire lifestyle, but can we get people in? You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. And how do you feel about politically based comedy? Do you think laughter helps with provoking thought on different issues?
I think so. I think so in a way, because comedy is saving a lot of those free speeches right now. You know what I mean? We got two giants holding it down, Bill Burr and Chappelle. They're holding it down for saying whatever you would like to say. And I think comedy is saving a lot of things. as messed up as the world is, as messed up as America may be, these kids do have a responsibility to challenge every single thing that happens in the
Yep.
world. They have the right to do that, and that's whether you agree or not, because and whether you agree or not, it's subjective, and that's the good thing about it. Because if you disagree with this person, you're gonna go agree with this person, so you're gonna find something that you like. I mean, it's comedians. It's our job to really challenge that, or challenge ourselves, whichever way you want to be. If you're non-political or political, it doesn't matter. But even you talk about yourself, can still find a way to help somebody else, or challenge them to think about it like, wow, that's an interesting way to look at life. You know what I mean? Dave Chappelle once said it to Trevor Noah at the Trevor Noah got off stage. Trevor Noah told Dave Chappelle, well, not many people laugh, and Dave Chappelle said, you were interesting, though. You were interesting. You know what I mean?
Yep.
People were listening. And I've been told that. I've been told that, Dorian, if you don't get a laugh, you may get a ooh, you may get a ah, you may get a clap, you may get a oh, you may get a ah, you may get a you're going to get a reaction out of people. It's not always the laugh, the traditional laugh or clap. That's how you know. You're saying something, and it matters at that point, what you're saying to that audience.
Definitely.
You got to keep that alive, man. Challenging.
Yeah, definitely. And speaking of politics, it is election day today. Once we know who won, what do you think will happen? I know on both sides of the political spectrum, people will be upset. Do you think there will actually be a civil war, or do you think there will be just a whole lot of complaining like there has been ever since, for the last 4 years?
Well, I don't. Listen, man, I hope we don't have a civil war, but the country has been at war with itself since the beginning. So, you can't, it's like you can't really, what's the word I'm looking for? You can't really predict if there's going to be a big civil war or not sometimes. But then, sometimes I'll look and be like, whoa, well, ooh, it's looking bad. But, I don't know. I don't think there's going to be a civil war. But there might be,
Yeah.
what I'm saying. A lot of times people have been wrong about this country. You know what I mean? And a lot of times people have been right. So, you got to.
Yeah. And I definitely hope that there's not. I don't care where you stand politically. We should just, no matter what happens, we should just strive to love each other, and keep the peace. You know what I'm saying? Like it is possible. Like the cigar industry is, for the most part, is a very accepting place. It doesn't matter what your background is. I've experienced that firsthand. So we should all strive to have that in our daily lives.
Right. I think here's the thing. I think a lot of people agree with each other and they just don't know it.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people deep down agree, and even share many other common experiences. People who have opposite political parties, and they have no earthly idea of it. You know what I mean? That it's crazy. A lot of people have a lot of other things in common, and like I said, man, I got friends from all different walks.
Yeah.
Life, all different walks of political background, all different walks of upbringing. That's how I live my life. You know what I mean? I can't close mine. I gotta have them both open.
Yeah, definitely. And I know you're someone who likes to be a unifier. How do you plan on making this world a better place just in your daily life?
Well, I think first, be honest with myself. I don't think I'm here to be. Tupac Shakur once said that if y'all want me to be a role model, that means I have to stay in this role. And I think me being honest with myself takes me out of that position. It takes me out of a role, being a role player, because we should be real models, like you said. Tupac said, let's be real models instead of role models. And I agree with that statement a lot. The best thing I can do for myself is stay true to myself and treat others with respect like I was raised to. Have integrity, which I was raised to have as well, and show love. And that love is passionate. A lot of people look at it like, oh no, Dorian, it's anger. No, it's passion sometimes. Sometimes it's passion that is miscommunicated. Love is patient, love is kind. It's not supposed to hurt. Love is the thing where it's not supposed to kill, but it makes you want to kill for someone.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Love something like that, and the best thing I can do is be real with myself and be very real and straightforward to others. I'm not here to hurt. I'm here to do this life. I got it once. I'm going to do it right. And that's what I'm here to do. I'm very honest with myself. I'm not taking anything to my grave. I'm leaving everything here. And I think at the end of it, me caring about my community, me being, talking to different walks of life, walking with people, listening to people, being able to experience things I never experienced, I never thought of. I think that in general has an effect on the world. There's a chain reaction somewhere in the universe that is causing good to happen along the way. It's galaxies away. If there's a universe in there or whatever, something good just happened. Another star has been birthed. And I believe that I can change the world.
That's what's up.
So changing myself.
That's it, man. So 5 years from now, where do you hope to be as an entertainer? I say entertainer because you don't just do comedy. Where do you envision yourself in 5 years?
Making a living as an entertainment mogul, on a Tyler Perry type level, on a Jay-Z, Kevin Hart, Dave Chappelle type level, on a Dorian Gayle type level. Let me put my name in there. I'm going to be on that level. I'm going to be fully self-sufficient, and I'm going to make sure I give opportunities to others who helped me and others who are younger than me, who are on their way to make their same impact in the same industry.
That's what's up. And so that kind of is a cool segue point because, the next question, we only got a few more questions left here. So what advice would you give a young person who wants to get into doing stand-up comedy or acting?
Man, it's funny. I just answered this question on Facebook too. I would say, be on time, be professional, focus on your strengths of your craft, find your craft, and then focus on the strengths of your craft. Everyone is not a storyteller. Some people are punchline people. They have great punchlines. If that's what you're good at, focus on that. Be professional, on time, and don't get into drama. Don't get into beef. Stay in one lane. Focus on yourself, but don't be selfish. And I think if you work hard, if you have a work ethic, develop a work ethic, you can be successful. Stay consistent. Those things, yeah.
Definitely. And so, go ahead. Sorry about that.
Good.
No, I didn't mean to cut you off. So, in closing of this interview, though, I want to know what are some things that people don't know about Dorian Gayle?
About me?
Yeah, about you. Unless there's nothing that people don't know.
No, there's a lot. There's a lot. There's a lot, and I'm gonna tell them. Here's something that a lot of people may not know about me is that I have never been to a different state to go to that state, but I have been to 4 different countries.
Nice. I saw you posted that on Facebook the other day, which is a pretty interesting fact. You've never been to another state, but you've been to 4 different countries. That's crazy.
That I can remember, because my mom was like, "Oh, I took you to Georgia when you were a baby." Okay, mom. All right. I don't remember that.
I'm the complete opposite.
I've been the airport that I was in.
Yeah, definitely. I'm pretty much the complete opposite. I've never been to another country, but I've been to a bunch of different states. So I forget how many, but definitely a lot. So. And so, for those who don't know, where can people follow you on social media if they don't already follow you? And I put some of it in the, in the YouTube info box too, but just for the hell of it, to end out the interview. Where can people follow you on social media?
Well, you can find me on Instagram at the next Dorian Gayle. And you can find me on Facebook at Dorian Gayle 2424, the @ Dorian Gayle 2424. I'm on TikTok. Yes, I'm on TikTok at Dorian Gayle. I'm on Twitter at Dorian Gayle and Snapchat at Dorian Gayle 2424. I don't know Snapchat that much, but that's where everyone can find me.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I do appreciate everyone tuning in. It's still a new show, so I don't get a lot of live viewers, but people check it out normally after the fact. I saw somebody on the screen earlier, but they didn't leave any comments, but I saw somebody lurking. So everybody will check this out after the fact normally, even though it's live. And just as it continues to grow, as the show continues to grow, then I'll start getting a whole influx of people. But I do appreciate you doing the show. We could chop it up for a few minutes once the broadcast is ended because we'll still be on the broadcast studio. But thank you everyone for tuning in to Herf Zone Live. Catch us next week at 7:30, Tuesday at 7:30 every single week. And y'all have a wonderful night.